Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out with the one and only Sean O Hagan as Reece Mould prepares to take on Gary Cully this weekend in Dublin. First of all, Sean, how you doing?
We're doing all right. We're all rested up. We've been a long day, but we're here now. And we're all rested. We're ready to go.
Been a long day indeed as we head towards the weekend. Gary Cully is the opponent. We've seen Gary Cully in action recently. Defeat to Jose Felix, looking to get back on the comeback trail. And Reece Mould is the opponent here at the weekend. First of all, Sean, as someone who's a very ardent game planner, one that's ardent game planning on the toilet sometimes, what is the scout report on Gary?
I don't think you need a scout report on Gary. I think we all saw what happened to him last time out against Felix. I think we've got everything that we need to know about Gary. And I can only see this going one way for Reece Mould. I mean, we've not come over here just so... we've come over with intentions of doing a number on Gary Cully. And that, in turn, will fire Reece Mould up the rankings. And hopefully on to bigger and better fights and bigger paydays. So, yeah, we're very, very confident. And... I can't wait.
Does the game plan have to involve seriously looking at the knockout here, considering B-side here in the fight, Gary is the one that Matchroom have the backing towards at the moment here and looking to get back on that comeback trail? Does it have to be something where Reece has to really conclusively beat Gary or look for that knockout?
I think we all know, you know, with recent events where judges, referees and how fights have gone, I think we've got to make it a statement, you know. I'd be happy with a win either way, however it comes. I'd be more than happy with that. But like I say, with recent turn of events, particularly fights where I've been concerned with, I think we've got to do a number on him, yeah.
Reece is someone who's known, all of his previous opponents have mentioned about the power that he has in the ring, having proven that in the ring too. Do you feel that that's going to be the edge in the fight there with what we saw with Cully's fight with Felix, that's going to be the telling factor for Reece, alongside the boxing skill too?
Yeah, I think Gary's under a lot of pressure. He's in his hometown. Having seen what happened last time out, I think he's in a position where he's got to come and he's got to have a go. I don't think it helps his stature, you know. I mean, he's a big, tall guy. He's massive for that weight. I think it's very difficult to adopt any other style of boxing other than the way he actually goes about it. You know, I think that could be a factor for him. I think I've seen a little video that went out, a little bit of social media, where he says this is not Gary Cully fighting Reece Mould, it's Gary Cully fighting Gary Cully. That I'd be asking questions of that, you know, is he in the right place mentally for it? Also, is he in the right place physically? Because when that happened to him against Felix, it would actually, I believe it was at 9 stone 12. This time he's got to come down even more. You know, he's coming down to 9 stone 9. And then he's got to perform with all that on his shoulders. He's with a new trainer. If he's under pressure, is he going to revert back to what he normally does? I think everything's looking very, very good for a good, solid Reece Mould win.
Look forward to the fight at the weekend. Moving on to Josh, who was in a real good fight with Leigh until the fight was over. Again, a fight that was an exciting one whilst it lasted. Talk of potentially Joe Cordino and Leigh Wood, or Leigh Wood versus Mick Conlan, but it seems to be turning around that the rematch might happen at the City Ground. Is that what you believe the course of action is, that Josh will get that rematch with Leigh?
Yeah, at this stage, so I'm led to believe. There's a lot of interest in that fight now. It makes sense. The way things were going in that fight, like you say, I think everything was going absolutely superbly. Game plan were perfect, and then we had that break in momentum there at 7th round when that point was taken off for the mysterious illegal blow that I couldn't say anything wrong, you know, but it happened, and here we are. What it did do is it left Josh chasing that round. Made one mistake, he got dropped. I'm kind of a little bit sat on fence with it. I mean, we had a 10-second clacker as he went down. He got back up, thought, I've got 10 seconds to get back to the corner. He shouldn't have done that. He should have rose to his feet. He should have looked at the referee, stepped forward, shown him that he were okay, but he didn't. Walked back to the corner. Michael Alexander followed him. Josh turned round on 8 and he waved it off. I think what he could have done is such a big fight like that. He could have asked him to step forward, put your hands up, and decided then if he were okay to carry on. He actually waved it off on 8, on a count of 8. So, I don't know, but listen, it's one of them. Here we are again. There's talk of it happening again. There'll be no mistakes this time.
Outside of that moment in that round, were there any other mistakes that you'd watched back and seen from Josh where it seemed from my eye that everything was going the way of a Warrington win?
Yeah, I mean, what I was saying to him during that fight is let's keep doing what we're doing, but we've got to stay switched on. We've got to stay focused. You're breezing this. We don't need to be giving any opportunities whatsoever. It would absolutely, to be honest with you, I know it sounds silly after they seen what happened, what the outcome was, but it was one of his better performances over recent years. I mean, he's not had the rub of the green lately. The Lopez fight, I thought we'd done enough to win. Even some of their guys, top-ranked guys, says to us, well done, you know, our man's not done enough, but want to be. Then we went on to Maxi Hughes in America. Absolutely gave Cambozes a lesson in boxing. We dropped that one. And then turn of events in the last fight with Leigh Wood. So I'd say we're on a bit of a, I don't like saying a losing streak because we're all good performances. So what we've got to do is make sure that opportunity comes again. We've got to grab it and we've got to get something out of it, haven't we?
You've faced Leigh Wood twice before. It'll be a third time if the rematch with Warrington does happen. From the Leigh Wood version that faced Reece Mould to the Leigh Wood version that faced Warrington, do you see differences in those two fighters, or are they relatively the same?
No, I don't. I think they are relatively the same. I mean, I think Reece Mould was never a featherweight, but the opportunity came up. After a little bit of discussion with Reece, he decided he wanted to go for that. I don't see anything that he does differently, really. I also think that he's had a pretty easy ride. I mean, when I say an easy ride, Kanzo had been preparing for us for, I think it was 16, 17 months. Josh had been preparing for Kanzo for 16, 17 months. Two fighters had nothing left in them, ticking over during COVID. You can't stay in camp that long, you can't tick over for that long. It's okay, promoters and things saying you've got to be ready to take your opportunities. But physically, it's draining, absolutely draining. So, Leigh would never fought the best Kanzo, and Maurizio Lara never fought the best Josh Warrington. So I think he has had a bit of an easy ride, really, you know, as far as I'm concerned. I thought he was looking at Conlon fight. Michael Conlon had him all over. He had him down at first round? Second round. It's one of them. I mean, he's good at pulling things back round. Just when you think he's done, he can turn a fight on its head. And I can't really knock him. I can't criticise him, but I don't see a lot of things that he does. Take out the little bits of the stoppages. I don't think he does a lot different. I don't think he has changed as a fighter. Both times he was getting stood on his head and then he pulls something off. So no, I don't think he does.
What about at the higher weight? Do you think there was a lot of talk from the Wood side that the weight played a factor in that? Will that benefit Leigh? Would it benefit Josh? Would it kind of even itself out?
We've been doing that weight now for about 13 years, I think. We never ever use weight as a... Of course it's hard making weight, you know, but there's two fighters in there. It's not just about Leigh Wood making weight. It's about his opponents making weight as well. Josh has been a featherweight now for, I think it's about 12 years, 13 years, you know. So, you know, we've all got to make weight. If we want to fight in that division, we've got to make weight. It's no good saying after, oh, I can't do that weight, it would have struggled, or using it as an excuse for a loss. We never do that. I think what you get is, I think you get a very, very good fight at Super Feather with Leigh Wood and Josh. I think you get an excellent fight.
Turning the focus to Josh for a second, like you mentioned about the turn of favour, Josh was flying, the fight with Lara happened, the rematch happened, obviously contentious, and it didn't play out in any way for either fighter because of the no contest. And then obviously Lopez jaw broke against Kiko too. Do you look at Josh and say he might not be as good as he once was? Do you feel he's improved? Do you feel he has weaknesses with the not jaw in terms of the in terms of punch resistance, but because of the jaw injury and the surgery that he's had? Like, where does he stand as a fighter right now for your eye?
He's, I think he's standing as a fighter is where it's always been, that he'll turn up and he'll give his absolute, he'll give his absolutely 110%. I think the Lopez one, if you looked at that, he was a bit reluctant early rounds to let that front hand go. We're saying, screaming for his jab, you've got to get your jab going, got to get it going. He reluctant to throw it. There were a few demons there. It's absolutely balmy, isn't it? What other sport could this happen? He wins a world title for the second time and gets his jaw broke. Absolutely balmy. But yeah, with Lopez fight, he was reluctant to get his front hand going for fear of taking another injury. There were demons there. Didn't know if he could take the hits on his jaw, but he settled into it, and you saw how we finished that fight. It was superb. So I think he answered his demons. He's shown that he's still got 12 rounds in him. He's shown that he's still as tough as ever. I believe that we should have got that decision. I really do believe that. Like I say, I think with this business with his jaw, there were reasoning behind that. He's had a bit of a problem with a wisdom tooth that's been growing at a funny angle. And apparently that was causing a little bit of weakness in his jaw. That's been repaired now.
Right.
I do believe that he's had that finished off, the surgery. Nobody would do it until after this fight. That's been done now. He knows that it's as good and as strong, if not stronger than ever. I still think he's got an awful lot left in him. I really do. And he believes that. He came out of that last fight with Leigh better than he's come out of any fight. Despite the loss, he got dropped. But physically, he weren't marked up. There were no ill effects or no after effects. He was annoyed with himself, really. Absolutely fuming with himself. But he'll be back, and he'll be back better.
Hopefully we see that rematch as, like I said to you off camera and this interview, was a real good fight. Would love to see it again. Moving on to Maxi Hughes again, turn of favour with Maxi on the rise, on the climb. Didn't quite get the shakes on the cards where many believe that he should have got the shakes on the cards. Where does he stand in terms of getting a big fight? I believe that was promised by the team after the Kambosos fight. Kambosos even promised that when he wins the world title that he'll give Maxi Hughes a shot at that world title. But for now, where does Maxi stand in terms of getting back in the ring?
Maxi picked up one or two minor injuries. All that's been dealt with now. He's ready to go again. He's resumed training. I think the IBF installed Maxi at number 5. So what we had was the number 1 slot was vacant. Then we had George Kambosos and Lomachenko. We had Isaac Cruz and Maxi. I believe now that Isaac Cruz says he don't want to go down the IBF route because he doesn't like the rehydration clause. He does kind of blow up quite big, don't he, after weigh-ins. That kind of leaves Maxi in what I would say is a number 3 position, because above him you've got Kambosos, Lomachenko, Maxi Hughes. I think it's exciting times for Maxi. It could go either way, this. It could go the way of he could fight the winner of those two, or he could fight somebody lower down the pecking order. Either way, Maxi's not bothered. He just wants to get back in the ring. He believes he won that fight. I think everybody that watched it believes he won that fight. 79 countries around the world believe he won that fight. There's only one man who believes Maxi didn't win that fight, and that's George Kambosos and his dad. And no way does George Kambosos ever want to get in a ring with Maxi Hughes again. He outboxed him. He outfought him. It was absolutely superb. It was a sublime performance. I think you had Bradley there, you had Shakur Stevenson there shouting, you got beat. Bomac were, I won't tell you what Bomac said on camera, but everybody that saw that fight, even the locals that came out, that they don't see a lot of boxing over there in that place where we were, Shawnee, Oklahoma. They were booing. They knew what had just happened, and I don't believe George Cambo's will ever box Maxi again.
Wait to see what happens with Maxi. Just jumping back to Ben and just on the final topic, obviously Ben, trainer of Leigh Wood. Anthony Joshua has chosen to have Ben Davison in his corner for the fight with Otto Wallen. Having fought against Ben Davison fighters beforehand, do you feel that's a good fit for him moving forward?
I don't know really. He seems to be a little bit of a lost, doesn't he, AJ, at the moment? I thought it was Derek James.
Yeah, apparently it's a temporary switch in light of the fight being 5 or 6 weeks away and Ben Davison's camp or training centre being closer to Watford than obviously the US would be. So that's potentially the reason why.
Right, well, I mean, listen, Ben's a good trainer. He's all right. I like Ben. Can't say out the derogatory about him because he's a nice guy as well, you know what I mean? So I think for this fight, I think it's all right. You know, I think it's not a bad decision for this fight to use Ben. I don't know what he's going to do further down the line. I mean, what do you do? Is Ben going to approach it like he would have if one of his regular fighters? Is he just going to be turn up on night and go through motions? You know, so that'd be my concern. Ben's got his hands full at the moment. He's got a lot of fighters there. He's got a lot of big fights coming up. But yeah, I can't see any problems there. You know, but he'll get a nice payday out of it. Will old Ben there, won't he? You know what I mean? Certainly got more money than me anyway. That's for sure.
That's the other half of the game. Prize fighting indeed. Sean, a pleasure speaking to you. Thanks for speaking to SecondsOut. All the best in your fight with Reece Mould and Gary Cully this weekend.